and they have to organize the deal in a way to get that. We have to do it to make effective use of competitive market strategies so that we position our product properly and we can price it. Any recovered materials that promote energy conservation and efficiency. I mean, for any of you that are involved in green activities, you know, GSA right now is all over green stuff. So there, if you look at the corporate headquarters, or the GSA headquarters in DC, it's all in open space, office space. And if you, so not even the administrator has an office. Everybody goes in, and in the morning, they log into the system and they find an empty cube someplace, or an empty conference room if they have to have a meeting or whatever, and they just sign up for it. And then when they're walking to the room, the lights come on at that point, the shades go up at that point, so that it's energy efficient. They're very, and the government is trying to move in that direction. Obviously, some of these old DOD buildings are, you know, just in horrendous shape, and you know it's going to take a lot more to get those energy compliant. But for the most part, they're trying to move in that direction. And then they're trying to help provide strategy. So the kinds of questions they ask are there sources capable of satisfying the requirement? Are there commercial items available, or does everything have to be developed to meet their requirements? Can things be incorporated at a component level? So this is another trend within the government, you know, especially in computer systems and machines. They're pushing requirements further and further down to protect us from terrorism. So I had one of my doctoral students who had a reason to know that when President Obama was in office, his plane, his Air Force One plane, was grounded twice because the pilot was trying to fly the plane, and someone was taking over the controls and wasn't able to do that, so they had to do emergency landings. So obviously didn't make the papers, but when you think about, so how could something like that happen? Well, you know, when you think about computers and the fact that there's all these systems embedded into everything we do now, your refrigerator, you know, your car, baby monitors, your Amazon Echo, there's lots of ways that people can spy on us or that can rewrite the code. UVA did a study on these automated cars, found out that they could be overtaken and out of the driver's hands altogether. You know, if somebody was, a bad actor was involved. There's a problem right now with that the U.S. has discovered with Huawei. There's a Muslim comedian, and he did his last week's show was on just China, and they were talking about how there's so much. So the point of his story was how there are all these human rights violations, and anybody who tries to post anything, it gets taken down immediately. And I found that when I was over there 3 weeks ago, I would be looking at CNN, and like one article I could get to, but another article I couldn't. So they were tuned in to all the CNN updates to know which articles they were going to allow me to see while I was over there versus which one they wouldn't. Retail. I was banned from going to like Hotels.com, the Hilton app, the like Expedia, because they don't want you to use foreign hotels. They want to force you to go to Chinese hotels, and as an American citizen, I can't get to those sites. So they're very controlling about what they want you to do and to restrict your movements and things like that when you're over there. And these are all techniques that they're using to be able to accomplish that. But Huawei is a company that provides a lot of telecommunications equipment. So Huawei was the woman, the executive that was up in Canada, and she was arrested, and the U.S. is trying to get her extradited to here. She's a Chinese citizen. And the issue with Huawei is that their the hardware and software that they provide that goes into telecommunication systems, companies like Verizon and AT&T would want that as part of their solutions. But what that does is it gives the Chinese government, who you know, is intricately tied to Huawei and to all the other companies over there, give them the ability to tap into our conversations, what's going on, and all that kind of stuff. And so the US government has told Verizon and AT&T and all these other companies, don't even think about it. But, that kind of issue happens at all levels of technology. So before we understood this about Huawei, who knows who Amazon was buying from to make your Amazon Dot or your Echo, right? So we don't know, even in the technology we have today, whether it's been, taken over by bad actors. So that's kind of the issue that surrounds that. So what the government's doing is it's pushing for any type of machinery requirements further and further down the food chain, so we're getting to the exact part. Where is this part coming from? Where is this chip coming from? Because they want to be able to track from the time it was manufactured to the time it showed up in this computer that it's been on a safe path. And then what are your customary industry terms and conditions regarding all this? So all of these things are areas that you may differ from your competitors. Do you know today if you differ from your competitors in these areas? If you've done market research, you probably do. If you haven't, and your competitor's done it on you, they're already ghosting you in proposals. So that's why it's important to understand how you compare your competitors. What's the extent of competition? So, are you the only game in town? Are you the only ones that do this certain thing? Probably not. There's probably other companies that are doing it. What's the full range of the market competition? Who are the sources that can do this? How much pressure is there on price? So we were talking about your other line of business besides cleaning supplies that does the mining equipment. So in that case, I don't know how many other mining equipment repair manufacturers or facilities there are, but it seems like it's pretty limited. So in those cases, you can raise your prices because they have very few choices of who they can go to. And if there's a lot of companies that need your equipment, which it sounds like there are right now, you want to, you have to be able to price it so that you can keep up with all the work, or obviously have these job fairs that you're doing to be able to accommodate that. The quality, we talked about product features. Our issue of competitors, are they giving features that you're not giving? Or are you giving features they're not giving? Understanding those differences. Speed of technology improvements. How fast can you modify and move on? If the government asks for a different type of cleaning supply and you can manufacture it and get it done in 6 months, and your competitor takes a year, you're going to be in a much better position. Energy efficiency, we talked about service support. How are you responding to environmental concerns? The government has a big push to use recovered materials. So before they can, after they do that make or buy decision, the one step I didn't tell you about the other day was that they have required sources that they have to go to. And who are the required sources? The federal prison industries. So if people behind bars can manufacture the product or service, then that's sort of a work type program for them, and that's used. There's a group called Ability One that hires people with mental challenges and vision challenges and things like that. If they can produce it, they go to them first. Now, obviously, these two groups don't produce a wide breadth and depth of services to accommodate the entire government, so the government comes to us as contractors, but those are ways to improve efficiency and effectiveness. What are your sources to get this market research? Obviously the internet. Contacting knowledgeable individuals in both the industry and government. I mean, if you're willing to take the time to talk to people have a lot of information to share, about your competitors, or checking with customers of your competitors. What do you really like about their product? What makes you crazy about their product? Reviewing the results of any recent market research. There's oftentimes that Consumer Reports does great jobs of summarizing different products. You can look at that. The various magazines and journals that report on government business, they do analysis of various contractors. You can publish a formal request for information where the government asks you for information about your product or service. They have databases that they can use to pull, like any government person can go to this NavAir group and they can use any of the data that they've collected. Any kind of interactive online communication between industry and acquisition personnel. You know, we talked about networking and how important it was, but you know, like National Contract Management Association is for all contracting professionals in federal and commercial business. I'm on the board of directors, and we have monthly meetings, and you know, you never know who you're sitting next to, and you just start talking, and then they start talking about some of the problems that they're encountering, and you just start building that knowledge of the field you're in. You know, they say if you're going to become an expert in anything, it takes 10,000 hours. So, you know, as you gain this information, you're just trying to think through, you know, how does this impact what I'm trying to do in the federal government space? Obviously catalogs and literature, and then any kind of interchange that we conduct with us. Yeah. Oh, so basically if you're in the government, you have to document all this research, market research that you've done. You as a company would want to document it for internal purposes. Okay, any questions about market research? I feel like the energy level's kind of low. Let's just take a 5-minute get up and breathe and exercise a little bit here.